Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, we are here in the second episode. We were speaking about Ibrahim alayhi salam, the Khaleelullah, the friend of Allah. So, we just spoke in the first episode that how corrupt the environment was of Ibrahim alayhi salam, but he still chose to stand up alone for believing in Allah alone and not associating any partners with him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he chose to do this, he did not take part in their festivals where they had all these pagan rituals. Even though there was a lot of fun and a lot of friends they could meet and eat and so on, but Ibrahim alayhi salam chose to be different from them and did not want to take part. So the lesson we learn there is that when such festivals, carnivals, annual days or what have you, farewell parties, where whatever they may be, even though they are fun, they are full of friends, there's a lot of good food and drink to eat and so on. Still, if that goes against our belief in the oneness of Allah, where they would do shirk or disobey Allah, then we have to keep away from such events, inshallah. And then when everybody left, he was alone in the town. When he saw all these idols which they worshipped were just standing there, unguarded, unarmed, where they couldn't defend themselves, could they? So he just took an axe and broke all of them down. And he just left the bigger one, the one who looks bigger, and he put the axe on him. And when the people came down and said, "What happened to our gods?" He said, "What do you see? What does the evidence tell you? Does it not tell you that the bigger God has broke all of this?" He said, "How can this statue get up and break all this things?" So here he made them tell what he wanted them to know, that these idols which human beings have made cannot defend themselves nor defend you. Why do you have a God? To provide you and protect you. Mainly, why do we want Allah, any God, anybody, what do they worship for? Because they want food, provision, and protection from harm, from insects, from enemies, from accidents, or whatever. Yeah, protection. So when these idols, when these so-called structures, statues, which they were created by human hands, they cannot protect themselves, then how can they protect us? So this reached their brains and their hearts. They became speechless. But then their arrogance and their ignorance and their stubbornness peeped in, and because they were a big society, they wanted to maintain what they were doing for so long. They said, "How could you do this?" They found out it was him who did it, because he was the only one who did not take part in the event, so it must be him. And then they kindled a big fire, such a big fire that they could not go near it. They had to make a catapult, the catapult, to throw him into the fire. When Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into the fire, what is the dua did he say? So what is the situation now? Think about this. There is a difficulty that has come because of worshipping Allah. So at this point of time, we have to be steadfast, my dear children. We need to know that Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal is testing us. Are we still going to rely on Him? Are we still going to trust Him? So Ibrahim alayhi salam was among those who were steadfast. He said, Hasbunallahu ni'mal wakil. Sufficient is Allah as my guardian, as my caretaker. So when Allah heard this trust that Ibrahim alayhi salam had on him, even though the people had thrown him into the fire, Allah, the one who owns the heavens and the earth, the wind and the earth and the fire and water, he told the water to split for Musa alayhi salam. Now he told the fire to be cool for Ibrahim alayhi salam. That is how Allah saves those who are steadfast in his belief. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّهِ إِلَّا هُ. You don't know who are the soldiers of Allah except Him. So all the things are the malakut samawati wal ard, the dominion of the heavens and the earth is with Allah. He can extend the distances, He can cut it short, He can make the fire cool, He can make the sea into a land. So Musa alayhi salam and Bani Israel could walk. So He can do all of this. So when Allah, the one who helped Musa alayhi salam, when he was in front of the sea, when there was no way, He created a way. When he was in front of, when Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into the fire, He made the fire cool for him. Ya naru kuni bardan wa salama ala Ibrahim. So then now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the fire to, O fire, be cool and peaceful and give comfort for Ibrahim. Not cold like you freeze him, but just be cool. Subhanallah. So in that he came out alive, which was itself a miracle. Then the people again understood that what he worshipped was the correct thing, but still they didn't want to leave their ways. They were so stubborn. So at this point of time, after having told them many ways, when he told them, see, the sun is not a god, the moon is not a god, the star is not a god, then these idols are not gods, they cannot defend. He had made them understand in different ways, but still they were so stubborn in keeping up their false beliefs. At that point, Ibrahim alayhi salam moved away. He did hijrah. He did migration. And this migration is unlike today's migration, where you don't Google up and look out for the weather and the currency and so on. But he just had to leave the place with his wife Sarah and his cousin or nephew Lut alayhi salam. So this moving away from a place is also a lesson for us, that when the people around us, when our friends and others whom we associates, they don't change their ways, we should try to change their ways, call them towards Allah, worshipping Allah and obeying Allah. If they don't change, then it is for us better to move. Then whom will I have friends? What will happen to me? Don't worry, Allah will replace you with someone better than them. And this is the promise of Allah, that if you give up anything for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace you with something more better. And there Ibrahim alayhi salam left Iraq, and then he came out. Then he found a king who was not very kind to him, and then again Allah saved him from that. And then he gave him dawah, where the king said, I am the one who gives life and death. He brought two prisoners. He killed one of them and he saved one of them. Yani he let go one of them. He said, see, I gave one life to one and I gave death to another. Ibrahim alayhi salam did not argue him on this point, because this is not life and death. It's creating somebody is what is giving life, but let alone this person. So he said, my God rises the sun from east and sets it in west. Can you do the opposite? And there he was, dumbstruck, speechless. So again he made him understand that the one who, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who brings the sun from the east and sets it in the west, he is the one who was only one who was worthy of worship. Again Ibrahim alayhi salam proved himself. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continued to test him by not giving him kids for a long period of his life. He did not have children. Then later Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him Hajar and Ismail. When he blessed him with his wife Hajar, Allah gave Ismail through Ibrahim and Hajar alayhimus salam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Ibrahim to take Hajar and Ismail on a ride. So they went from Sham. So from Iraq they had gone to Sham. From Sham they went to Hijaz, which is modern day Saudi and Mecca. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him to go to Mecca in this wadi, in this valley where the first house of Allah was built by Adam alayhi salam, and now it had gone ruined. So at this point there was no much sign of the house at at that place. He came and he left the wife Hajar and the baby Ismail alayhi salam, and he was about to leave. When he was about to leave, our mother Hajar asked, Ya Ibrahim, where are you leaving us? Ibrahim alayhi salam did not have words to say because he was leaving them in an uninhabited valley. Have you seen the deserts? It was similar to that. There was no plant, there was no water, there was no human being, there was no electricity, no building, no anybody. Not even a bird was flying. In such an uninhabited land, Allah told Ibrahim to leave. After waiting for so long, he got a baby Ismail. He said to leave Ismail and Hajar. Hajar was feeding the baby and she had a little water and dates, and it ran out. And then she started searching for food and waiting for some miracle to happen. But she was a woman who trusted Allah, who believed in Allah, who obeyed her husband, who did not complain to her husband, who did not complain about her husband, who did not complain and make a big fuss and cry and scream and create a scene. Rather, she was a very proactive woman. And we learn from this, our mother Hajar alayhi salam, this nature of whenever you find yourself in difficulty, look for solutions while trusting in Allah. So what was her amal? What did she do? She saw baby Ismail crying, so she left the baby and she ran up to the mount. There was a small mount called Safa. She ran up to the mount to see if anybody is coming, if any bird is flying, so that she know there is water there. So she was looking, and then she couldn't find anybody until her eyesight reached, until the horizon there was nothing. Then she came down to see the baby, and the baby was crying severely. So she ran faster towards the other side, the mount of Marwa. So she ran to the Mount Marwa, and then she looked for any food or water or any sign of human being or any bird or animal. She could not find anything. Again, she ran down, trusting Allah, knowing that Allah will bless them with food and water, knowing that Allah is the provider. Inna Allah huwa razzaq. Indeed, Allah, He is the provider. So she had the trust in Him. Then she came down, and then again she saw the baby crying, so she ran fast. And then she went up high to the Mount Safa. And then she ran back to Mount Marwa. And then she ran up to Safa again. And then she came back to Marwa. At this point of time, she heard something. She came down to see the baby Ismail. Around him, there had sprang a well, a spring of water. Then it was called Zamzam. This is the Zamzam water which we drink until now. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Zamzam is for what you drink. And she made it like a pond, and she held it and she drank from it. She gave the baby, and alhamdulillah, they continued to live. When there was water, then the birds flew. When the birds flew, the travelers who passed through that region, they came and found out there was water. So they asked her to allow them to settle. She said she would allow them to settle, but the ownership of the well would be hers. And again, we learn from here that you trust the strangers, you help others, but then you still have your share of your intelligence and don't give up everything for unknown people. So anyway, and days passed, and Ibrahim alayhi salam used to come and visit. Once he was visiting, Ismail had grown up alayhi salam, and to a young boy who could help his father to run around errands, to go bring here, go bring this. So the father and son had a good bond, and they bonded very well, and the love of the father and the son bloomed. And Why did Ibrahim alayhi salam choose to slaughter his son? What did his son do? Let's see in the next episode.